Happy Friday and welcome to the June 24th edition of the bi-weekly update from the CSM team. Want to start off this week with two bits of recognition, although there's lots of people out there doing a lot of great work. To start, let's recognize Ann Dennison. She's really been focused in the last 2 months especially on kind of the appropriateness of the issues she's sending in, providing complete information with those issues, and she really took to heart some of the suggestions that we had given her a while back, and now her issues are consistently coming in correct with great documentation that helps our team resolve those issues for her that much faster. So thanks to Ann. Also want to recognize Eddie Alvarado. Not only has Eddie been doing a great job working with the segment CSM team on his normal customer issues, but he also jumped right into assisting on a huge hydro testing project up north while being on vacation back up for Jerry Leong. So Eddie was able to help negotiate with some of the high-profile customers out there, and with his help, the gas project team was able to come to a resolution with one of the major customers that had really been holding out on allowing us to move forward on this big project. So definitely appreciate that work from Eddie. For a safety tip, just don't forget 4th of July fireworks can be dangerous. In the written version, I've got a link to a safety video for you, but I'll never forget when I was a kid playing with fireworks one time. One of my buddies lit off the fireworks. They were actually firecrackers, and for some reason he just froze, and he was holding it in his hand while the fuse was burning down, and eventually just went off in his hand. And let's just say it was bad, but let's all try to be safe with our families around the 4th of July holiday, and nothing wrong with sitting back and watching the professionals put on those fireworks shows. But I hope you all have a safe and enjoyable time. Couple of tips and tools for you. We just updated the local CSM directory, and so I know there have been quite a few changes on employees, and this one also has a tab you can go to that has kind of a map of the whole system-wide territory along with the pictures and information on all the local CSMs and where they work. So got a link to that in the written guide. Also, just wanted to take a moment to remind everyone that they're pulling the latest work planning guide. I've heard from a person or two that they're opening up an older version, and so I've included a link to our CSM documents folder, and basically if you just always go to the CSM documents folder, regardless of what you're pulling up in that folder, it'll always be the most up-to-date version. So if you can do that, that would be great. One last addition to that document folder is we created a CRM CSM segment roster, and I know that there's a lot of rosters out there that kind of show all the CSMs per segment and then the CRMs per segment, but what we did was we went ahead and grouped them all together, so on one tab you can see everything for a segment, the CSMs and CRMs all together. So we thought that'd be helpful. It's got the leadership team for each of those segments as well as contact information. Lastly, thanks to Leslie Runberg. She had seen a need for creating a little bit more of a how-to guide for getting some of the more abstract information out of CCMB. A lot of us are newer and have just been trained in using Energy Insight, but still there's things we need to get that only exist in CCMB software tools. So thanks to Leslie for creating that. I've included a link to that as well. Quick action item for the CSMs. I mentioned this a while back, but just please be sure to follow the guide on how to resolve issues. We've seen quite a few that went straight to closed without ever being completed. And so we just want to make sure that all of our issues move to the completed stage before they skip over to the closed stage. So this isn't an issue for the CRMs, but for the CSMs who are resolving those. Definitely look forward to you working through it the right way, and I've included a link to that one pager as well. But as for process guides, we've got 2 new ones from the local CSM team. So thanks to Jason Gunther and Randy Herbst. Jason put something together on capacity research guide. So when you're trying to figure out how much capacity a certain part of the infrastructure has, you can use that guide. Randy put together a guide to handling CCA inquiries. Now both of these are drafts, so we're going to give it a week or two for people to provide feedback to those 2 gentlemen, but then we'll be posting the final version as well within the work planning guide. And one quick update to the work planning guide is it was brought to my attention that even though we're making updates to that thing once or twice a week, either to make language clear or adding new process guides, we weren't really showing kind of the history of what those changes were. So Matt Schneiderman had a great suggestion. Thank you, Matt. And so you'll see there's a tab now that I believe that it just is called the record change log, and that way you can hop in there and see any of the changes we've been making to the work planning guide over time, and that'll start to fill in. Very last thing, reminder from our non-core gas expert, Jill Adams. She wanted to remind everybody we do have a deadline of the end of June to complete training for any of you that have non-core customers, and so we've got an email attached with a link to that recording, but it does document who attended the 2 training options we had and also who's watched the recording. So if you have not already and you have non-core gas customers, please watch that recording of the webinar so we can mark that off as 100% complete by the end of June. And to finish up the week, as we continue to identify and implement new ways to better serve our customers, it may not always be clear exactly what to do next, but we still need to move forward. So kind of in the words of Steve Jobs, you can't connect the dots by looking forward. You can only connect the dots by looking backwards. I think that's something along the lines of hindsight is 20/20. But long story short, so you have to trust the dots will somehow connect in your future. So I kind of threw in some commentary in the middle of this quote there, but I believe it's true. It's always easy to look backwards, but sometimes it's not clear moving forwards, and we just need to do our best and trust that all the dots will align. So with that, have a great weekend and hope to speak with you all soon.